Support for 100 Watts and a Wire is brought to you by 100wattsandawire.com. To subscribe to the show, simply click the RSS feed or subscribe wherever you get your podcast. When you visit, apply for your free 100 Watts ID and learn how you can become a sustaining member. Click the donate page and pick the option that works best for you. We've got a traveling toolkit, 100 Watts and a Wire gear, and activity days with prizes. That's 100wattsandawire.com. Heard it, worked it, logged it. It is time to get the transceiver that is best suited for your lifestyle. ICOM offers a variety of high-performance and innovative products. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur and make the most out of contest season. And Bio-NO Power, offering the best performance lithium iron phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bionopower.com. That's BIOENNOPOWER.com. Or contact dealers nationwide.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Sure enough. Hello there, it's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel, K0STH. And this is a show I wanted to make about answering your questions. And right now we are in the last days of July 2019, and you know it's hot. It's July, it's hot. Yeah, it's a hot one. Oh man, don't tell me I just went and... Oh, the refreshing part about this is Carlos Santana played on that track with Rob Thomas. Did I just quoted a Rob Thomas song? Oh, damn. Oh, I told you it was hot. I don't know. Man, that's a hot one. That's all I know about that song. Smooth. It's called Smooth. I met Rob Thomas before Rob Thomas was really doing it. I met him back in Baltimore, my great city, my hometown. What's happening, Baltimore? What is happening? Yeah, I am living and make my home in the heartland, about 20 miles from St. Louis, but Baltimore is my hometown. I'm an Oriole fan, I'm a Ravens fan, I'm a fan of the city. So back in the early days of my broadcasting career, I was with WIYY 98 Rock, and that's where I met Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. Man, it's a hot one. What else? You're something smooth. And then Carlos Santana plays. And, you know, that was the year they gave Carlos Santana every Grammy they could. For, I don't know, at that time, 30 years of greatness. They're like, look, he played on this, he did this one. Carlos Santana put out a record and played with a lot of people. Dave Matthews, others. There was others, and some were good, some were bad, you know, and some were, man, it's a hot one. It's stuck in my head. No offense to Rob Thomas. Not my bag. Seemed like a nice enough fellow. I mean, I have a couple Matchbox 20. If you want, I mean, you know, I have a couple Matchbox 20 stories. This one is about you and your questions, though. Let's not go too deep into the Matchbox 20. That brother married a beautiful girl. I'm sure his kids are incredibly beautiful, and I'm wishing him all the best and success. Just not my... You know, either you get like Jimmy Buffett or you don't. You know? For me, Rob Thomas is, you know, it's not my cup of tea. It doesn't mean that it's 3 a.m. I must be, and I know it. I'm pulling up songs that I know by Matchbox 20. I must be lonely. But I remember this song because I just got on 98 Rock in Baltimore, and we were playing 3 a.m. and something else. I don't think we were... Reach down and hand in my pocket. You know that one? It's been a long day. I think maybe it was called Long Day. Oh, Jesus. I wish there was something you could kind of clear out the memory banks of things you hold on to. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life, but it's part of my radio career, and there you go. I wanted to answer, and I will answer some questions, because on Facebook and our social media presence, on Twitter and that sort of thing, and now that we are on 2 shortwave broadcast stations, I get email, and I can directly answer these things to the writer. But some of them may have some value and interest to other places, and I've been trying to compile them, and they're on all these little pieces of paper. That's kind of how my life goes, and I write things on paper and then transpose them to a computer, and so on. So that's kind of how this has been going. And speaking of those shortwave stations, I should tell you to keep a lookout for them. WTWW, 5 o'clock, generally on Saturdays, on 5085. What I do is I put my radio in the AM mode and then dial up 5085. Lots of interesting things happening there. And also WBCQ in Maine. That's 5130. On Friday evenings at 10 o'clock, we run there. So check it out. They've got Facebook pages too, and because they're reaching worldwide audiences, you get, different questions. They'll come in emails, and I encourage you, if you're listening to this on shortwave radio and want to drop me a line, just visit 100wattsandawire.com. I need to do this more. And look up my email address there. You can reach me on all the social media there, 100watts, 100wattsandawire.com. And questions come from all over. And I figure I'd take the time here. So let's get on into it. Let's start with Paul. Paul wants me to talk about the Canadian bacon and pineapple on pizza dilemma. Come on, Paul. Starting trouble right out of the box. Right out of the box. Paul's with Amateur Radio Newsline and has done some work for 100 here from time to time. Let's see. My thoughts on Hera Arena in that storm. Mathis? That's an interesting name. Well, Hera Arena, I was there for the last few. And before it moved to Xenia, Ohio. It was interesting. I'm into old things. It did okay. A lot of the ham radio community thought, and I'm talking about some of the the elders, they would certainly promote it as being good enough for us. It had enough for us. Some of the patrons, people that would show up and attend, would think differently. So going into it, I had a feeling of, the place is a little damp on the floor. It's kind of small, but I love the flea market. And when the storm hit it and kind of gutted it, it's after we've made the move. I've kind of gotten over that. I don't know. There were some sentimental feelings, I guess, from a lot of people who had spent, upwards of 30 plus years attending at Hera Arena for the Dayton Hamvention. And so I get it. I'm trying to remember the story there, but the building was sold, and I just can't really remember the plans for it. But, we moved on, and the place that we moved on to in Xenia is nice. Spread out, I like it. Hera Arena, a lot of great memories there, and I understand the tug to feel sentimental about that loss. John asked about microphones. Kind of depends on what you're talking about. This one right here is an expensive, higher end. I do voice work with it. It's a Neumann. Costs a little bit of money, but I justify it with voiceover work and that sort of thing, and that's different. On the air, I like a good dynamic mic. I like the Sennheiser line. Sennheiser and Neumann, kind of sister companies there. Great German product. And that's kind of where I am with that. Every room, every studio, it depends on the bandwidth that your radio will put out. I also use a D104 on my Drake TR7. So microphones really depend on the application, the person speaking into it, and the room you're in, for me. Ken, battery power. Ken, I would refer you to episode 98, where we discussed, how long you plan to transmit to how big your battery is, that kind of deal. Episode 98, Ken, check on that for battery power. Johnny, pet peeve. And putting these all in the context of amateur radio, I think if you're running a special event station and you get yourself a pile-up, or maybe you're in a park, you just don't ID. I think I think you can really get wrapped up in QRZ, and you just keep. There was a Delta station in there, and and next you just go on and you don't reset. So a pet peeve of mine is not IDing, not on a 10-minute thing. Of course, that's the legal. You should. Holy moly! If you're running a pile up in 10 minutes, you could run off a lot of calls. So you're obligated every 10 minutes. That said, it's kind of good practice to finish up a conversation, say 73, which new listeners may not know this yet, but 73 means best regards. That's why you hear that all the time. And then you usually hear QRZ and nothing. You don't hear the ID. You don't hear where this guy is or who, and that's a pet peeve of mine. Calling, let's see. John asked about logging software. I'm a Mac guy, and a friend of mine suggested a Mac Logger. I think it's Mac Logger DX, something like that. Yeah, Mac Logger. I like that. And I hope these questions and answers help a little bit. I want to just create a sense of community in that regard. Hold on, let me look at this computer. Let me see something. Yeah, Mac Logger. Look up Mac Logger. If you're a Mac user, you can look that up. There's many others. There's free ones as well. A Mac Logger, I remember, it costs a little bit, but I enjoy it. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, turn that over. John asked about the QST feature in the June magazine. I appreciate that. That's all I can say is we did an interview a couple of months, maybe 6 weeks prior to that. It was always it's always great to talk about my father's influence on me and my radio career and my interest in radio. So I appreciated that. I spoke to Allison at QST. Very nice. Encouraged her to get her license and to come and do some stuff with 100. But I think they keep her pretty busy. But much appreciated. I did not expect the ARRL's publication, QST, to ever feature your boy. Very happy about that. Thank you. How far are we into this thing? Holy moly. You guys don't want to hear about this, do you? Joe, QSL cards. I love them. I love to get them. I don't get as many as you might think. But I have a P.O. box set up to receive things. People send the occasional product. I will have things sent to the P.O. box, but my QSL cards will go to the P.O. box. And I enjoy going there once a week, picking them up, and I do fill them out pretty much right away. I like to get them. And I'm thinking of a way of maybe trying to display them a little more. There's a few that I'm really proud of. Your first contact, maybe you worked the league, W1AW or whatever, friends, So I've got a pocket full of ones I really like, and I do keep the other ones kind of in a wooden box. But I do enjoy them. And there are many you can make your own. You don't have to go through any fancy printing companies. You can make your own. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of amateur radio. Do what you want to do. I still do it and enjoy it. Chuck says, your 200th episode. Are you going to do more? Well, we're in 210. You can see when I got this one. I don't know. I think this is episode 210. And, I plan to go weekly. There could be a time maybe in the fall, later in the year. My kids are still young, so it really depends. It depends on my workload, the ones that, are making me money. My children, I could easily see this going to be a every other week thing. It's, it's possible. It's possible. It just, it depends. It depends. We'll see. David, 100 field day. What does that mean? I did not participate in field day except for a little bit in my shack. I wanted to set up, I believe it rained for all of the tune-up, which I missed, and field day. I was invited to go to a couple of local clubs, one which I belong to, one I would like to join, and didn't make it. Again, life will dictate what you do, So with the show, as long as I'm having a good time, I have something to talk about, something to add, some people who can provide you good information, I'll keep doing it. If the frequency of it has to drop back, then that's fine with me too. And not doing a show is fine with me too. I'm not caught up in having to, I don't need it for my ego. I've been in radio for a long time, so it's not a ego thing. It's all about time and family commitments and earning. Got to earn it while you can. Got to earn. Let's see, David, comment on the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues scene, music, or the hockey team? Both are very rich history. The St. Louis Blues hockey team won the Stanley Cup this year, beat the Boston Bruins, and it was spectacular. The vibe in the city was amazing, and I think the season's too long, and I think that you'll see the Bruins and the St. Louis Blues come out of the gates for this year's hockey season flat. But that's because I think the season's too long. The St. Louis Blues music history is really rich, really rich. W.C. Handy slept under the Eads Bridge, and he's known as the grandfather of the blues. So both a very rich history here in St. Louis. Lauren, hex beam from scratch. Nope, I didn't do my hex beam from scratch, but you sure can. I've had so many issues with my hex beam that I've seen how it was created, built, ways to improve it. And if you have the facilities and the faculties to make your own, if you're engineering enough like that, you've got some kind of PVC, you can do it. You can totally do it. Some fiberglass, not PVC, some fiberglass. There are some mechanical elements to it, that you want to think about, and sizes and that kind of stuff. But yes, you can do a hex beam from scratch. I did not. All right, I don't know. I won't get through all these. This was better intended. Brett, let's see, WY7GB asked about the story behind my call sign. I was originally licensed as Kilo Delta Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. KD0STH. I ultimately dropped the D. And at the time, I was thinking to myself, do I want a call sign? Do I want a 3 call sign? Because I'm from Baltimore. I thought maybe, maybe a 3 is kind of where you're from. It's a tip of the hat. And this was the early days. I was thinking, and I applied for one. I applied for a 3 call the same day I applied for removing the Delta from my original call. Well, I didn't get the vanity call for the 3 land. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty hot. It was like, W3X, whatever. I thought that's kind of cool, and that's where you're from. And I didn't love it more than my original call, and then I kind of labored over this decision to change my call sign. I think it's a very personal thing. But I did know I wanted a shorter call sign, so I took the Delta out. And that was easy. And so now it's just K0STH. I understand the call sign rules have changed where you can apply for a call almost anywhere. There was a great 7 call one time, and I was like, oh, that's sexy, sexy, sexy. And it's like, shiny coin. But you don't live there. And I understand the people who have beams want to be able to turn their beam to that call zone and say, okay, I'm pointing now at 0, or I'm pointing at 1 land. And then you're like, what? You're in Texas? You're south of me? Well, no wonder you're on the back of my beam. Your call sign, what's up with that? I understand both sides. The rules say you can apply for a call sign outside of where you are. And if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that. It's to each their own. I understand the old guys and the guys with beams who are like, you don't even have to be an old guy like me. I spin my hex beam around and I'm like, well, 3? You're 3 or you're 4? You're 4. I'm pointing in 4 now. I'm in 4, but I live out here in Colorado. Oh, okay. That's the and the acronym. If you've been listening through any of the episodes earlier, I've been called. The STH has been many things. Sweeter than honey. Mm-hmm. Shake the House, Stairway to Heaven, many good acronyms. But I encourage you to use proper phonetics, especially in times of emergency. Otherwise, have fun with it. Biggest wanker in amateur radio. I'm going to have to pass on that one. Ah, Jimmy. Let's see. Let's see. Terry, favorite mode of operation? I'm an HF guy. I enjoy working portable. And I've been flirting a little bit about going on hikes, trail walks, and you've heard Steve, WG0AT, on trail walks. Summits seem cool. I'm not equipped for it, though. My radio and my gear's too much. My portable setup's probably best for if you're going to go somewhere and be there for a few days, couple days, that sort of thing. Biggest misconception, that one size fits all, that there's a perfect radio, there's a perfect antenna, there's a perfect microphone, that sort of thing. Best advice. Best advice probably is to slow down. Just slow down. Mick asked about a 2-meter antenna. I'm just learning VHF, UHF. I'm looking at Comet. There's some interesting things with Comet. Some great radios out there for VHF, UHF. I just don't know too much about it. Can't recommend one. The future of amateur radio. I've said this before. You want to get women and people of color involved. The kids will come along. I believe the kids will come along. It's certainly important. I believe the children are our future. There we go, Whitney. I feel that I've picked myself back up now, that I've redeemed myself with Whitney Houston. Although I gave it in a country kind of twang, which is weird. Maybe they should record that as a country song. Teach them well, let them lead the way. Future is children, of course, but they seem to come around okay. And women, appeal to women and encourage people of color. Open your arms like we do here at 100 Watts and a Wire, with a sense of community, sense of oneness. You hear it on the radio. Yeah, good to hear you on the air, Mohammed. You sound so good. Or you sound so great coming from, different countries. When you're working them, they're your brother. Shalom. You hear them on the radio, you hear them. Well, welcome them in fully, always, and we should be okay. Favorite special event? 13 Colonies is cool. Route 66 is cool. I like the 911. And anything with the Code Talkers. The Code Talker celebration is good. I don't think I'm going to be able to... biggest wanker in amateur radio. Holy moly, there's some people going, oh no. I don't have enough time. I'm going to take a break. And we'll come back and see if I can get to some more of these. Neil's here. I bumped Neil last week. I want to get him on, and we'll move on, close it out here in just a bit. This is 100 Watts and a Wire.
CQ, CQ, CQ. This is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Brothers and sisters of the Hamily, make the most out of contest season with one of these ICOM radios. How about the IC7610? The SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The IC7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. Dual Digi-Select RF direct sampling system, an independent dual receiver. And let's not forget the IC7300. Changing the way entry-level HF is designed. Visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur to learn more about all ICOM radios. And ABR Industries. Struggling to find the right coax for your equipment? ABR Industries can help you find the right solution that won't break your piggy bank. We offer professionally terminated assemblies using high-quality PL259, N-type, SMA, BNC, and many other connectors. Custom lengths and specialized labeling is available too. All products are individually tested, and most orders ship within 1 to 2 days. For more information, visit abrind.com or call 713-492-2722. And West Mountain Radio, specializing in DC power distribution and control, rig blaster sound card interfaces, and antenna management. Use code 100WMR to get 10% off your next purchase.
This is Paul Brown, WD9 GCO of Amateur Radio Newsline. I'm also member number 141. You're listening to 100 Watts and a Wire with Christian Kutnick, K0STH.
Hello again, my friends. This is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, the Next Gen Contesters contributing editor for the National Contest Journal, and the host of Ham Talk Live. I'm here today to talk more about getting youth into amateur radio, and I've got some exciting news for young hams and for people who are looking to help out with this. Now, a few months ago, the Young Amateurs Radio Club, YARC, started up a youth contesting program, which is pretty much like the Youngsters on the Air program over in IARU Region 1. Well, they're doing it again. And so if you know a young ham that's looking for a place to operate, have them sign up at yark.world/YCP. Or if you have a station that you would be able to host a young person for even part of the contest, also go over to yarc.world/YCP and sign up. The contest is for the IARU HF Championships, which are July 13th and 14th. So if you have an HF station, it doesn't even have to be a big one or even a full contest grade station. It's just on the air and does fairly well. You can host one of these people, and all YARC does is match people up. So you don't have to worry about, if certain hours aren't available or you can only do it for so long or, things like that. You can work that out with whoever is paired up. So check that out. And another thing that I want to tell you about that's brand new is the Yoda Region 2 website and social media. We call it Youth on the Air over here in Region 2. Over in Region 1, it's Youngsters on the Air because it translates a little bit better. But this site and the social media sites are going to be the conglomerate of all of the youth activities. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for youth activities. We'll link and retweet and have all kinds of information on all of the youth activities that are available out there. So whether it's scholarships that you're looking for, or ARISC information, or a link to Youngsters on the Air, or the Youth Contesting Program, or YARC, or the ARRL's YouthNets database. It's all linked in there, so you can go to one place, and that's yotaregion2.org. It's YOTA region and the number 2.org. And we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and YouTube under YOTA Region 2. So just look for YOTA Region 2 on any of those social media outlets, and you'll hear all kinds of news about more opportunities to work with young people and get them involved in our hobby. So that's my tip for this month. So enjoy the weather, enjoy the radio, and get some young people on the air. For 100 Watts and a Wire, I'm Neil, WB9VPG. Back to you, Regis.
Yeah, and now calling me Regis, maybe I do have a more definitive answer on the biggest wanker in amateur radio. Don't I, Neil? Don't I? Do I? I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. No, Neil is far from the biggest wanker in amateur radio. He does a lot of great work for the next generation of amateur radio operators, and I appreciate having him as a special op as we do our monthly segment. Appreciate him. I won't be able to get to all these questions. Maybe we'll hold over some for next time, but lots of other great things to talk about. I'll save these questions, and if it works for you, we'll answer some more of them. And maybe they'll be helpful. Maybe they are useless to you. I don't know. Next time we visit, we're going to go back up on the trail with Steve, WG0AT. He's going to take us up on a summit. I enjoy it. Theater of the mind. He's creating a picture. So what? You hear him breathe hard. He's working hard. He's working hard. It's a different experience when you're dealing with audio, and I love it. I'm an audio guy. Okay, friends, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And by all means, if you can, Stay on the cool side of the door, and please try and stay above the noise.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.